Hi everyone. Today we're breaking down a huge legal battle that looks complicated, but actually it could change your life. The Competition Commission says banks, both local and international, colluded to rig the rand-dollar exchange rate. That means everyday people like you and me may have paid more for things because the banks played dirty. In this video, I am going to show you who's involved, what some banks did to avoid trouble, who paid big fines, and what top lawyers argued about. If that sounds overwhelming, you're in the right spot. Let's explain it all clearly. What exactly is the Competition Commission case? The Competition Commission is South Africa's market fairness police. They investigate companies that break rules like cartels or price fixing. Here, back in 2015, they accused 28 banks, local and international, of creating what's called a single, overarching conspiracy. Basically, they say these banks got together and agreed on how to buy and sell US dollars and rand to make money unfairly. To make the Commission's case clearer, imagine a group of friends decide to cheat on a test. One person shares the answers, another agrees to copy, another agrees to distract the teacher. They don't each have a separate plan, they're all part of one big agreement to cheat. The banks allegedly used chat rooms on Bloomberg to coordinate prices. Over time, that skewed the dollar-rand rate, and that rippled into higher prices for goods, data, and even services. Let me paint a clear everyday picture of how an ordinary South African feels the pain when the rand is manipulated. 1. Petrol goes up. South Africa buys fuel from other countries in US dollars. If the rand is weaker against the dollar, it takes more rands to buy the same liter of petrol. Example, if petrol costs $1 a liter, when 10 rands equals $1, it's 10 rands. But if the rand weakens and 15 rands equals $1, that same liter now costs 15 rands. 2. When petrol goes up, everything else follows. Trucks and taxis use petrol or diesel. Higher fuel costs mean transporting goods like bread, milk, and vegetables costs more. Shops then increase their prices, so groceries get more expensive. 3. Daily travel costs rise. If you drive to work, filling up your tank takes a bigger chunk of your salary. If you don't drive, minibus taxis and buses increase fares when petrol prices rise, so that means it costs more just to get to work, school, or even the clinic. 4. Services also get squeezed. Businesses spend more on petrol and imported goods. To survive, they push those costs onto customers. That's why airtime, mobile data, and even electricity tariffs feel heavier on your pocket. Plain everyday example. Imagine you earn 10,000 rands a month. When the rand weakens, petrol goes up. Suddenly your taxi fare to work costs 500 rands more each month. Bread that was 16 rands is now 18 rands. Electricity eats an extra 100 rands. Data bundles that were 85 rands now cost 100 rands. By the end of the month, you have nothing or far less money left, even though your salary didn't change. Bottom line, when banks played with the rand-dollar rate, it wasn't just numbers on a screen. It made life harder for every South African. Petrol, food, travel, and daily living costs all became more expensive. Which banks are involved and what did they do? The South African banks named are Standard Bank, Nedbank, FirstRand Bank, Investec, and Absa. These are major players in our financial market. But Absa did something different. They applied for leniency, which means they admitted they joined in the wrongdoing, but cooperated. Early. And were honest with the commission. That move can protect them from big fines or prosecution. What leniency means in competition law. Leniency is like a deal or a get-out-of-jail card. If a company admits it was part of wrongdoing like price fixing or collusion and cooperates with investigators, it can get a lighter punishment or sometimes no fine at all. It's a tool the Competition Commission uses to encourage whistleblowing. In the Absa case, Absa was one of the banks accused of being part of the rand-dollar manipulation cartel. Instead of fighting the case like other banks, Absa applied for leniency. That means they went to the Competition Commission. They admitted to being part of the currency manipulation scheme. They gave evidence and information about how the cartel worked, which helped the Commission's investigation. A couple of banks admitted guilt later and paid fines. Citibank paid around 69.5 million rands, and Standard Chartered paid about 42.7 million rands. So that's over 112 million rands paid to date. You might ask, why does this matter to me? Here's how. Imports cost more because the distorted rand is weaker, meaning everything from food to electronics costs more. Household budgets get squeezed, making life harder for families. Digital access gets limited. Expensive data affects students, small businesses, job seekers. Overall, markets become less fair. Smaller businesses can't compete when big banks rig the system. Advocate Nkukatobi, representing the Competition Commission, said, "There's a fair prima facie, a good starting case, that banks colluded. The Commission can go after even foreign banks because if what they did hurt South Africans, that matters here. Just because a foreign bank doesn't have big offices here, doesn't mean its safe laws can cross borders when your economy suffers." The chat rooms were wide open. Even if you didn't type, if you knew and benefited, you're part of the conspiracy.
Cartels have evolved. They are now bigger, complex, and transnational. And this case is a classical example of a transnational cartel. Not only do the cartels not respect territorial borders or nationalities, they also do not respect any product in pursuit of profits.
Effects were felt all over. Price distortion leaves permanent structural pain. Imported goods, costs rise, and the people feel it. Waikakobi basically argues, if your actions shook our economy, you must answer here. On the other side, banks said the Commission's case is too vague and weak. Here's what they argued. Nedbank's lawyer said there's no real link, no one named them in chats. The case relies only on publicly posted prices on Reuters. That's just what someone decided to advertise, not secret swapping info. He called it narrow and skeletal. Many foreign banks claim the Commission lacks jurisdiction. They have no business here, no real connection, so South African courts shouldn't touch them. BNP Paribas said the Commission can't even figure out when the conspiracy ended, so its claims are unclear, and hurts their reputation. Banks say, show us clear proof. Don't lump us in just because someone's data overlaps in time.
And in paragraph 97, and again in paragraph 217, there you'll see the only allegations which seek to attribute liability to Mr. Merkovich. And the allegations are so vague and perfunctory that, with respect, they simply don't bear any serious consideration.
Fast forward to today. The case has bounced through the Competition Tribunal, then the Competition Appeal Court, which dismissed claims against many foreign banks due to lack of jurisdiction. Now, it's in the Constitutional Court, where Nkukatobi is arguing the Commission should be able to pursue the case. Judges are now reviewing all arguments. Judgment has been reserved, meaning we wait to hear what they'll decide. So what's next? If the Commission wins, they could bring banks to trial here. That may lead to more fines, behavior changes, or stronger market fairness. If banks win, this could limit how far South Africa can go after international companies hurting our markets. Let's zoom out and recap. 1. The Competition Commission says 28 banks, including big SA names and foreign banks, conspired to rig the rand. 2. Absa Bank cooperated early and got leniency. Citibank and Standard Chartered paid big fines. 3. The Commission has a case strong enough to reach the top court, but banks say the evidence is flimsy and jurisdiction doesn't apply. 4. Nkukatobi says if their actions hurt SA, they face justice here. Banks argue they are unfairly dragged in. Bottom line, this fight could decide how fair our markets are and how protected we are from economic cartels. Let us know. Were you surprised to learn about our local bank's alleged involvement in this? Do you think Absa did the right thing by coming clean early? Should foreign banks be prosecuted if they harm South Africa? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, share, and subscribe for more clear breakdowns of your stories.